Hey, what's up, everyone? So, it was kind of weird, and I actually clicked the live streaming button, but there was no connection. Then, after that, the moment I kind of. Okay, never mind. It doesn't matter. What's up, everyone? So, it's a Monday here in Singapore, and it's probably a Sunday for you guys, wherever you are in the world. Hopefully, things have been okay for everyone in terms of handling the quarantine, and hopefully everyone is staying healthy, buying what they require, so on and so forth. So, yeah, I kind of want to address a few things today in this episode. I would say that you would always want to look at the positive side of things rather than read all the negativity that's happening. And I think all this negativity is it can get a lot of people down. So I kind of want to move that. I want to kind of bring the positivity to most people, and there's actually a light at the end of the tunnel. So kind of like, let me just share with you what's been happening. So, if you are watching this for the very first time, my name is Ryan, and I run the channel. This is my channel. It's called the Crypto Grinders channel. So I started back in 2017. I invested in crypto back in 2016, and right now, the opportunities in the market, right, have moved from crypto to the stock market. And I think right now is the best time to start looking and hunting for deals, because a lot of the companies that we know are on a heavy discount. Now, obviously, if you are someone who is, concerned about your job, right? I think the focus should always be towards that first, making sure that you are still able to provide value for your company, for your clients, especially if you're self-employed like myself. I'm self-employed. I answer to my clients, and at the same time, I'm always providing value to other people. Now, the most important thing is having your job secure first before doing anything else. You always want to make sure that you can put food on the table for yourself, your family, and at the same time, making sure that if you're renting or you're on you're on a mortgage, obviously you want to make sure that you are able to have shelter over your head and for the people that you love the most, especially your wife and your children. Now, obviously, if that is already settled, you want to make sure that your finances are in order. At the same time, making sure that depending on how long your quarantine is in your respective country, you want to make sure that you are well stocked. But bear in mind that there are other people who also need these essentials of food. Don't be someone who is just selfish and only thinks about yourself, right? It shouldn't be that way. You should always make sure that you care for your fellow citizens or your fellow human beings. Don't be one of those people that are just buying for buying just as if like the whole world is going to crash. Yes, it looks bad, but let me tell you why there is going to be positivity at the end of all this. Now, this is just statistics. This is just what's been happening. This is from my own personal experience. And at the same time, I run multiple groups that are from different countries, people from all over the world, and they share their various experiences with me as well. I can either speak to them on a personal level or through my community group. So I'm not someone who just sits here, looks at the news, and then I make a conclusion. No, I'm speaking to people consistently. Also, just so you know, there was someone who was very within my friends circle that was recently admitted to hospital because of COVID. And he was someone that actually did some he was very helpful during my wedding, right? He used to run a printing business, and I came to find out that from my parents that he was actually admitted to the hospital because of COVID. Now, the good thing was, the thing is, he has fully recovered, but prior to that, he did enter the ICU, and there was one point during his hospital stay that he was in critical condition. We were all very concerned, very worried, because he is someone who now drives as a private hire, and of course he's providing and supporting his family. And I'm sure that you probably know someone, or you have experienced this yourself. Now, he managed to recover. Now, he's already in his 50s, late 50s, almost 60s already. the good thing is that he recovered. Now, obviously, I know that the circumstances in every different country are very different, right? I think Italy is doing a good job for what they have, and of course, the number of people that they have in Italy is just there's just so many people. But Italy has one of the top healthcares in the world, right? It's top 10, guys. So for them to kind of eventually kind of let this whole thing drop off, or as in statistically drop off, it will eventually happen. It's just that everybody just have to play their part. If you're quarantined, please stay at home. Don't go out. And then, while you're still in quarantine, you go out, you start buying food, or you need to buy beer, or just have to connect with people. Don't do that. Seriously, just don't do that. So anyway, long story short, once all this starts to taper off, because if China is doing it at the moment, so the numbers of cases that are being reported have really dropped tremendously, and we're talking about China here. We're talking about a country that has billions of people. Okay, at least 1 billion people in that country alone. So if China can do it, rest of the world can definitely do it. It's just a matter of time, and everybody showing social, of course, exercising social distancing, and having a civic minded, being civic minded, guys. It's just very straightforward. Now, when it comes to all this, I think the most important thing is to see the opportunity. Right now, the next 18 months to 24 months, I will be definitely looking at quite a number of things. My first concern is the negative interest rate environment because of the stimulus package that has happened. So now let's go to the article. So because of the negative interest rate environment at the moment, we are seeing for the fact that especially now, you're gonna go into a negative interest rate environment. Why? Because there's just so much money that's being printed. At the same time, economies are slowing down. You need to there's no choice. It's just more of like the fact that every industry is now starting to slow down or shut down. Airlines are shutting down. Cruises, hotels, resorts, all shutting down. F&B shutting down. Entertainment shutting down. We're talking about millions of jobs lost practically overnight. So now that we're in this situation, we're in a negative interest rate environment, you are clearly seeing the repercussions. So just 2 episodes ago, I mentioned that what are you going to do in a negative interest rate environment? And today, the Danish banks are really launching the world's first negative interest rate mortgage. Now, this is something that's very new to me, right? Because I wasn't old enough when probably this happened. I'm not even sure whether it has happened before. But anyway, right now, with a negative interest rate environment, what does that mean? Firstly, savers are going to be punished. I mentioned this in my last video. Banks are now going to be offering mortgages at the end of the day because they still need to lend. Okay, that's how they're going to start generating revenue. At the end of the day, don't forget, when there's so much money printed from the central banks, right? There's just so much liquidity. And obviously, you need to support your financial system. In every country, you cannot let your financial system sink. The moment you let your financial system sink, that is practically the end of the country already. That is where you have just literally civil wars, lots of bad shit happening, okay? I don't even want to imagine if that happens. Now, that scenario is even worse than COVID. I guarantee, okay? So for now, at least if you notice this negative interest, this is just one of the first, right? And it may or may not happen, but you're now going to see for the fact that banks will be paying you to lend money. Now, you'll be if you're borrowing. So now that you're borrowing money from the bank, they will actually be paying you, right, in some way or another. So how does that work? In this particular article, if you are someone who is borrowing from the bank, right, they will kind of pay you every month or every quarter, so that either it allows you to pay less on your monthly installment, or you are able to pay down your principal faster. Okay, so it seems okay, right? It seems okay it seems okay for now as someone who is borrowing. But as a lender, you must be wondering, okay, how are the banks going to make money then? Well, for a fact that they are going to make sure that people who are putting deposits are going to suffer. Now, people who put deposits, I mentioned this the last episode, that you will start to pay the banks, right, to put your money with them. Now, you must be thinking, wow, that sounds stupid, that sounds crazy. But sometimes in certain countries, it is just safer to put it with a bank than putting it in your home because, house break-ins, robberies, so on and so forth could easily happen. Now, this is just the truth. So it is still a good idea to kind of put your money with the banks. Now, there are even articles, there are even promotional videos that I've seen from the US talking about, having the faith and putting your money with the banks, so on and so forth. And people don't really like that idea because they are very worried that the moment they put large sums of money with the bank, right, and they have to recapitalize themselves because right now the situation is very, very bad. Banks are also very concerned about people defaulting on their mortgages. Now, we're not just talking about people, we're talking about small, medium enterprises, businesses, right? We're talking about enterprise businesses that could easily go bankrupt, declare bankruptcy, and that's when their loans are going to default, right? Any outstanding credit facilities that have not been paid back, that's gonna go to shit, right? Even if there's assets that you can take on, and I tell you, there's always unsecured debt and there's secured debt. These things, once they start to unveil and start to reveal all these things, these are the things that are going to happen in the next, more or less is a guarantee, the next 6, 12, 18 months, you're going to start seeing all these things. Okay, so the question right now is, what are you going to do about it? So if I was someone in a country that was offering me a negative interest rate mortgage, for example, firstly, I would want to make sure that, okay, has the property market actually dropped enough that I can find that value, right? I can find that value. Or if I'm a business that I'm starting out, say for example, I'm starting out a business, for example, is it favorable for me to kickstart this business with this loan? Okay, these are the things that I will be considering. Right now, in my opinion, the market is still very, very soft and the bottom is not there yet. It's really not there yet. I have seen one property, okay, this is just one listing that I've been looking at. From 3.2 million, it became 2.8 million. Okay, this is just within 1 week. Okay, because the market is bad. When people are desperate for cash, you would be very surprised how willing and how fast they change their pricing and their listing. This is that kind of market, guys. So if you're holding cash right now, you are king. You don't have to rush into things. In fact, you want to negotiate the best deal for yourself. It's just the way it is, right? Let me just share with you another thing. I've been looking and I've been putting my money into the magic market since last year. Now, obviously, last year wasn't the best time. In fact, even now, prices are significantly lower. We're talking about Magic the Gathering cards. Now, this is something that obviously is not considered straight up finance, but it's something that I'm interested in. And since it's a Sunday, I want to share that with you. So, a lot of the high-end Magic cards, we're talking about really high-end here, has dropped 30 to 40%. Okay, so to me, right, that market has been relatively resilient, but because of the whole Bitcoin bull run and also the bull run in the stock market, a lot of the cards within the crypto market, right, has actually been within the magic market has been doing very, very well. So this is the benefit that I'm seeing because I want to be acquiring, especially when markets are very, very low. Now, the next thing that I'm looking at is building a stock portfolio that is dividend paying. Now, obviously, there's going to be a benefit. So all these things that I'm sharing with you, first and foremost, I am not a licensed financial advisor. All right, I personally have been I have personally been a financial advisor, a professional, an ex-banker back in 2008. So I clearly know what is going on. This is really one of those bad times, and in fact, I feel that it's worse than the subprime now because you're seeing it's a global pandemic. In the past, during the subprime, it started from the US and it trickled down. So obviously, there was a lot of deleveraging. Businesses, banks were all affected. The financial sector was hard hit the most. But right now, you're seeing the hospitality, you're seeing F&B all taking a hit. So Before I answer question, guys, I think let me say the main frame and mainstay rather than the questions. But feel free to put up whatever questions that you have, and at closer to the end of the video, I'll start answering all these questions. But yes, you can put up all that. So what will I be doing? And like I said, this is non-financial advice. This is just my personal opinion on how I will want to tackle the market and when I will roughly want to start deploying my funds. Now, I've already started to deploy my funds on certain things, but I'm not staying too long or too loyal because firstly, I know that the bottom is not in yet. And a lot of companies are actually still paying dividends, but I feel that the dividends will all be revised because their revenue and obviously their profits are going to be affected, especially if there's going to be restructuring, there's going to be a lot of retrenchments, right? All these things are going to affect the bottom line. At the same time, since the economy is just it's just bad, guys. Okay, since the economy is bad, obviously these companies are not going to be as profitable as they once were 3 to 5 years ago. Okay, it's just that time. But will there be companies that will be thriving and doing well? For sure, right? I think the gig economy is going to do pretty well, but it's not going to be that soon because firstly, since unemployment numbers are going to be skyrocketing, okay? We're talking about skyrocketing here. I was shocked, but I wasn't very surprised, you know what I mean? When I saw the unemployment claims from 240 to 250,000 jump to 3.5 million. Now that is a serious, significant parabolic jump in the unemployment claims, and that's just the US. I have not checked the unemployment numbers or unemployment claims in Europe. I feel that will be horrible and bad as well. But right now, I think, right now this is that kind of market where you have to be extremely cautious, okay, about where you put your money and when you dedicate your funds. Because as much as I don't like to time the market, but I just feel that at the end of the day, there is just some kind of indicators or common sense on when you deploy your funds. Especially, like I said, you firstly need to make sure that you have job security. The next thing you do, that if you, let's say for example, you're not interested in investing, start thinking of plan B and C, because in the event that your job is at risk, right, you need to be able to still bring in money. Now obviously not everyone can immediately switch a profession or learn a new skill like that, but under the circumstances, I think it's always good to kind of take action if you can. Now I'm not saying that everybody is affected, no. There are some people who are doing extremely well. For example, medical workers, they are in high demand, they are exhausted, but those who are in the medical field, right, the front line, their jobs are secure, but they are definitely putting their lives at risk at the moment. Okay, right now, if you are someone in solutions, right, technical solutions and all that, you seem to be fine, but it depends on what kind of industry do you provide technical solutions. So these companies, whether small, medium enterprises or enterprise level, they seem to be still doing pretty okay. But a lot of them are working from home at the moment. So this kind of situation, right, has been, it's in every bear market or in every kind of cycle. This is the issue. So that's the thing. So we wanna kind of identify all these kind of things first. And where are the key opportunities? Now, obviously, hospitality, airlines, banks. I foresee that these industries, and of course oil, we're talking about oil and gas, right, will take a very, very hard hit in the next 6, 12, 18 months. This is more or less a guarantee. The question is how much more before they bottom out and from then they start recovering. Everybody kind of wants to figure that out, or at least want to kind of time it. So I rather not time it, because like I said, we are all human beings, right? We are not like someone who will eventually identify that. So I think building up a portfolio when things are really bloody, especially right now, things are very, very bloody. So opening up a trading account, right? That's for me. That's what I would do, right? So if I had $10,000, where would I be parking my $10,000? Firstly, I know for a fact that if I put my money with the bank, I'm getting 0 to no interest, or I will even have to pay the bank, and the bank will be actually deducting from my deposit because I'm parking it with them, right? So what I would do right now is to build my position in stocks that are going to be paying me a dividend. Okay, that's where that dividend will, and firstly, I will not be dividend sniping. Okay, I know there are people who will kind of buy in just in time, right, for the dividend payout, and then after that, once you hold past the X date, as long as you hold past the X date, right, you already qualify you can already decide to sell. I would highly suggest not to do that. All right, I would highly suggest not to do that. I would rather you kind of focus on you building a portfolio in the next 18 to 24 months, because in this kind of current climate, right, I don't see the economy recovering within 1 year. I think I kind of read somewhere that there's going to be a V-shaped recovery, and I highly doubt that. We're going to be in a recession that is probably going to last 2 to 3 years. This time around, it's probably going to last 2 to 3 years. So there's plenty of time for you to start looking, identifying what you want. Sure, there are going to be the boring companies, for example, Nestle. You're looking at companies like Nestle, you're looking at Whole Foods, you're looking at these large conglomerates, right, that are still providing essentials for people. Johnson & Johnson, for example, is very, very good. Johnson & Johnson is one of those companies that are going to be doing very, very well. So now the next thing is you want to make sure that you start building that and gradually having a dividend payout. You see, let's just face it, even if you let's say you want to store that whole 10K in cash for now, okay? Eventually, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass, because that money is going to do practically nothing and you're not going to see any growth, okay? You're going to see a negative interest rate environment. So let's say, for example, if I put in my 10,000 right now into a particular stock, okay, it's probably going to fall 20 to 30% more, but at least I get a payout. And once the economy recovers, right, these particular stocks, in my anticipation, or at least what I base my theories on, it will start recovering, and then I will enjoy capital appreciation on that stock portfolio. This is how I'm going to play the game. Now, for crypto, clearly that's not going to happen. Crypto, unfortunately, even if you do staking and you earn tokens, right, let me ask you one thing. When you get more tokens on a particular, cryptocurrency, which cryptos, right, at the moment could fundamentally benefit the economy right now? Seriously, which one can do that? Okay, is any crypto providing food? Is any crypto able to benefit from providing essentials, medical or healthcare? It doesn't do that. None of them do that at the moment. Everything from start to finish has always been speculative. I'm not saying that there's no tech behind it. I'm just saying at this point of time, we were able to benefit from speculating on startup companies that were previously not available to us. So for us to take the risk, obviously we need to always be willing to take on the risk, but there's always that reward. Right now, everybody has deviated, and people who are savvy enough will obviously be looking at the stock market. Who the hell wants to look at the crypto market? But let me say this, once the economy is starting to turn and people are a little bit more loose with their change, that's when they start getting a little bit more speculative. Sure, there's all the talk about the banks not being reliable. We should buy more Bitcoin. You will hear Roger Ver, you will hear Tim Draper, you will hear Mike Novogratz, whoever, so on and so forth, saying that, you see, this is what we were anticipating, buy more Bitcoin. Now, when you buy Bitcoin, let me ask you a question. Aren't you concerned about the volatility, right? If you're concerned about the volatility, obviously it doesn't pay you a dividend unless you are a miner that can earn the rewards. And if you're not a miner, how are you going to benefit? So that's why I'm saying, be logical. Look at the stock market. There are definitely fundamentally sound companies that are still going to benefit and pay you a 4 to 5% dividend rather than putting that 10K in cash and earning you nothing. That is the truth. So when we move forward and when we are going to be building this portfolio, we have to be very strategic about it. Eventually, once you see, here's the thing. I'm going to straight up tell you how it's going to pan out, okay? Precious metals, and that's a very good answer, okay? Good afternoon, Corey. So Tai Eng and Patrick, what do you think about precious metals, bro? Yeah, okay. So precious metals, right, was something that I mentioned back in 2017, okay? So I'm going to repeat myself one more time. That time when crypto was doing really well, we're talking about really well, any blind cock could throw some money at a crypto and easily make 10, 20, 15, even multiples or five times, 10 times. Okay, I said this very specifically. Put 10% of your profits into precious metals. I said that quite a number of times back in 2017. But I cannot remember which episode. I should kind of do it, but I hate doing video editing. As you can see, most of my videos are always live stream. So anyway, I did say that. I said put 10% of your profits into precious metals. So people were asking, do I put it into the digital one or the actual physical? I said I went for physical. Now, people don't like physical because sometimes it's a bit of a concern. They have to find a safe deposit box, or they have to keep it in their home or somewhere. So they may feel a little bit uncomfortable. So that I leave that to you. So if you were able to either buy digital or physical, obviously right now you have already profited anywhere from 20 to 30%, because at the time when I mentioned it was about 1,100 to less than 1,200 per ounce. I still remember. Okay, so right now obviously you're not making tons of money, but at least once you see the stimulus kick in, okay, here's the thing. Once I see the stimulus kick in, and it's in the trillions, guys. When more money goes into the system, what do you think will happen? Obviously, the purchasing power eventually has to go down, right? It's not something that you can. It's not something that is beneficial on the long run. But there's no choice. Let's just put it this way. The US economy has run out of options. When it has run out of options, it is very difficult for people to think of other things other than print more money. There's really not much left. And don't forget, they're purchasing bonds, they're purchasing ETFs, they're purchasing the index, they're doing everything they can to kind of turn things around. Okay? But sometimes when the hole is just too deep, it's very difficult to recover from it. So just back to that. At the end of the day, right now, if you ask me, gold, where do I see it? I think gold is gonna be poised to be hitting 1,008 to 2,000 this time around. I really feel that. Even if it doesn't, right, it's no longer going to be 1,100 to 1,200 per ounce. It's not going to happen. Seriously, it's not going to happen. It's just going to maintain a nice high price now, a higher price than the previous support level. Okay. Now, if you look at the current Dow, the S&P, this is just a technical rally, or we just call it it's called a bull trap. Okay. To me, it's a bull trap. Okay. I don't believe that the market will hold I don't believe that the S&P will hold 2005. I don't believe that the Dow Jones will hold 20K. It just won't happen. Okay, it just doesn't make sense. I will see the market caps of more and more companies start to go down because just the demand is just not there. All right, it just doesn't make sense. Okay, and even if I was a hedge fund right now, I wouldn't be buying. I would be actually hedging my bets. And I think recently, can't remember which hedge fund actually did a 10x on their shorts. Okay, they did a 10x on their shorts. BTC dumping. Well, of course, right? Like I said, where is the fundamentals right now? There's also the opportunity for the miners to kind of capitalize and kill off all the smaller miners at the moment. What better time, right? So, okay, Ryan, do you think BTC will test 4K level? Definitely, it's very possible. Like I said, guys, where's the fundamental? So I think there was someone was asking me, you should buy more BTC. My question right now is, when you buy BTC, can you safely put your money there, okay? And at the same time, 1 week down the road, when you want to buy groceries with it, there's a merchant that's willing to take in that BTC, right? But then again, what about the volatility? Let's just talk about very simple things, okay? Clearly, if you look at it, it's not the safe haven, because if it was safe haven, it would be $10,000 by now, right? Why isn't it not $10,000? Why is it just 6,000? Why is it hovering at 5K, 6K? And look at the volume, guys. Look at the whole crypto market. It has dried out. Look at the volume. Other than US dollar tether, right? US dollar tether volumes are looking kind of okay, but it's shit overall. But if you look at BTC altcoins, it is shit, guys. It's just pure shit. You look at the big exchange, you look at Binance's overall volume. Binance is one of the biggest exchanges, isn't it? But where's the volume? It's not there because no one is looking there anymore. Everyone's looking at the stock market. So my dear friends, look at the right market. You may love crypto, you may be dying on the altcoins and everything, but it doesn't matter. At the moment, everybody's looking at the equity market. Nobody gives a shit about the crypto market. So just wait for your turn, right? Wait for your turn. That's just the way it is. If I don't have a brokerage account, I'll be opening an Ameritrade TD account. I'll be opening an IG Markets, or I'll be opening a Saxo account. That's what I would be doing, right? I want to put my cash into work. I don't want to let my cash just sit there doing shit. Right now is the time to start buying. So you see, Warren Buffett, right, is having the cash on hand because he already anticipated this. This guy has mentioned it so many times. He's holding cash. He knows that a lot of companies are overvalued. He already mentioned that many times. Robert Kiyosaki mentioned it many times as well. And for Robert, he's just an old school guy. He's looking at buying up more land, buying up more property, right? At the same time, he's looking at the financial sector, just like Warren. Warren is just looking at the financial sector as well. He's just looking at which one is on discount so that he can add it onto his Berkshire Hathaway portfolio, right? You have to kind of think along the same lines, guys. Okay. Now, obviously, investing is not for everyone. Okay. You are someone who probably wants to think, hey, is investing something that is investing really for me? No, investing is not for everybody. Let me make this very, very clear. Firstly, if you have zero idea about what to do or about how to invest, okay, firstly, I would rather you start reading up about certain companies that are doing well. Just say recession-proof stocks, for example. Just go recession-proof stocks. The top dividend plays, okay, or dividend stocks that we can buy in 2020. Just type something like that. And you will be surprised that you would know these brands. But if I were to ask you, which are the top staking reward cryptos, I'm like, what the fuck for? Like, seriously, what the fuck for? Like, you're getting a cryptocurrency that is continuously dropping in value. So even if the cryptocurrency was giving you 6%, 7, 8, 9, 10% per annum on the particular amount, but if the whole crypto market just drops another 20, 30, 40, 50%, you're still having a negative return. You get what I'm saying? Because if you lose 20% of value on 10% dividend, let's say you get 10% dividend, for example, or 10% rewards, but your cryptocurrency drops 30, 40%, you're still negative 30, right? You get what I'm saying? So right now, when you see the stock market correct, the value is there. The opportunity is there. Quickly switch and start looking at certain stuff. And right now, most stocks, right, you can buy one stock. Now, obviously, you cannot fractionalize stocks at the moment. That is still not available. But there are some crypto exchanges at the moment. For example, there's an exchange that I invested in that I've invested in 2 years ago. They are now going to bring in fractionalized US securities. Now, this is something that's very powerful. Now, is it for everybody? No. It depends on the market or the country that you're in. You still have to KYC, right? And also, recently, I was having a discussion with someone about DeFi, decentralized finance. Don't even get me started, man. Seriously, I do not see how the hell does it work. It just doesn't make sense, right? It's kind of like how okay. Let me just ask you a question. Just between you and me. I am the lender. I do not want to KYC you, okay? But you have Ethereum. Okay, let's do a pledge. Okay, let's do a pledge. You need cash, right? But you don't want to sell your Ethereum. Great. Okay. So let's say you put in 10,000 worth of Ethereum on the current value, okay? I'll give you 5K in cash. Okay, so let's do that deal. You let me know your bank account, whatever, okay, or whatever kind of wallet. I send you the 5K. I will hold 10K. Now, here's the catch. When Ethereum drops, I'll have a margin call on your amount. Right? Because I still have to protect my interest. The moment it falls to 5K, I will have to liquidate the whole position and that Ethereum becomes mine. Okay? So that's how it works for a secured base. Now for unsecured, I don't even know how the fuck that will work. Unsecured, that meaning that I'm gonna lend you money as a lender and you don't have to pledge anything. I don't have to do any KYC on you. I'm like, why would that even work? It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like zero. I would never put my money, especially as a lender, to you. I would never. Now the next thing that I'm hearing, okay, another flip side, is that asset base is already bad enough. Okay, asset base is bad enough because firstly, I as the lender, now we flip it around, you are someone who is borrowing. Why am I reliable enough? Unless I'm a Coinbase, okay? Unless I'm a Coinbase, unless I'm a Gemini, unless I'm a Binance, okay, then it becomes very interesting. But don't forget, these companies want to be more compliant. There's no freaking way they're gonna open up this new floodgate, right? And cause all these complications from a compliance point of view. It just doesn't make sense. They might as well shut down their whole compliance department. It just doesn't make sense, guys. It's not going to happen, and it's not going to come from these companies. And you obviously only want to put your assets with a company that you can trust. Why would you put with Ryan Lai Private Limited, your DeFi solution provider? You know what I'm saying? This is why I don't see DeFi working. So to me, whenever someone wants to tell me they want to invest in the next DeFi token, I think they're just gonna lose their money. Okay, I just feel it just doesn't work, guys. I don't see it working. So now the next thing that I want to highlight is the ongoing market is going to be very tough mentally on a lot of people. I'm very, very concerned that people who are holding on to cryptocurrencies that are dropping in value, and this is a guarantee, okay? See, when people are holding on to a crypto portfolio because they were too vested, okay, they didn't exercise proper portfolio management or position size risk management, okay, just general risk management. They did not exercise that. So they are now overcommitted, right? And they now see everything that's happening, bad stuff happening around them. They're desperate and then they liquidate, okay? If, of course, the pandemic didn't hit, they may be a little bit more, settled, a little bit more calm, right? And because after a while, you already kind of get used to that volatility, that bear market. Now you're seeing the stock market get hit. Not only that, you're seeing people dying, or at least you're hearing about your country folk, catching your concern about yourself and your family catching the coronavirus, right? And especially if you're of a certain age, you're also very concerned about whether or not you would survive in the event that you do get the coronavirus. Now, take note, most bad things after a while the news won't cover. Okay, it's just a fact. Okay, but for now, it's the most sensational piece of news. Everyone wants to report, create fake news, fake data, and a lot of weird stuff will be happening around you. So just be very mindful that yes, all this shit will be happening. There'll be even videos that will kind of try to teach you to protect yourself against corona, or even induce you to start buying. This is one problem. This is one problem that I foresee. Okay, right now, this is that kind of market. So, firstly, be very mindful that there will be people who will try to capitalize on the vulnerable. Okay, this is something that happens in every market. It was happening in the bull market. I guarantee most of these scumbags will also come out in the bear market as well. So, how will it work? Very simple. If you hold cash, they will try to get your cash, try to entice you with great deals. Okay. The next thing is, if you have crypto, they will try to entice you with the rewards. And if you fall for it very easily, you probably will just lose all your tokens. This is a guarantee. I don't know how it will happen. It can happen through Facebook. It can happen through an Instagram ad or whatever. It will happen. So if you're not mindful, you just don't know where to look, or you're just too desperate to kind of want to grow your funds, more often than not, right now everything is dropping. It is very difficult for you to generate an income if you do not know how. It just doesn't work, guys. It just doesn't work. Now, obviously, there are people who are still gonna flip because there are assets that are gonna be, like, for example, there are people who are now manufacturing masks. Okay, they are finding manufacturers, right? Manufacturers need capital, and manufacturers who are providing masks, right, need that capital. So what better way than to work with private investors, right, who are willing to park capital with them? They produce the mask, they split That's what's been happening right now. Because if there's a shortages of masks, right? If there's a shortages of masks, people are now able to kind of find those manufacturers, work a deal with them, and then from then start shipping it out to other countries. Right now, air freight is still around, guys. People are still able to get stuff. Okay, it's just that maybe if you want to do delivery and all that, it just takes a little bit slower because it's gonna cross your borders a little bit slower. But if it's not, if it's something that is not food or anything like that, I think it will go through relatively quickly. So that's what people are doing. Yeah, guys. So at the moment, I think we are in that kind of it's not weird, but I know for a fact that in the next, okay, so it's very simple. I forgot to mention the indicator that I'm looking. The indicator that I'm looking is just basically once I see the coronavirus, the cases start tapering off, right? Once the coronavirus starts tapering off, you're gonna see a lot of companies. Okay, you're gonna see the economy start to turn around, but the unemployment numbers will still be high. The unemployment claims will still be high because nobody suddenly just gets a job. Okay, it's not gonna come back that quickly because right now there's the opportunity to do restructuring. Now, not every company is gonna be a saint. In fact, it's probably one of the best times to kind of fire people and bring in new talent. It's very, very sad. It's gonna be very, very real for a lot of people, and it's very hard. It's gonna be very challenging. That's why I'm telling you. I think it's very. I don't want to be the guy to bring that kind of news all the time, but I think at the end of the day, once all these things pass, you'll be surprised that during this time, right, you start finding ideas because you're really pushed to a wall. Once you're pushed to a wall, you start finding things that you always wanted to do, and you are like in this, yeah, I think I better go and do it. If I didn't know how to build a website, I better go and get a website done. If I've never sold anything online before, I better start learning to use any kind of online conferencing, or for example Zoom or using Skype. Try to build a business, right? That is why I think it's that time where you start discovering stuff. It's really more of your self-reflection and at the same time your willingness to change, because a lot of people are always in the comfort zone. When nothing bad happens, right, nobody talks about this shit, and in fact when you talk about it, you'll be like, fuck lah. I'm definitely gonna do well. My role is so safe. What's gonna happen? And then this happens, right? So yeah, you may not be affected, but I tell you the truth. There are people around me that are getting affected by it. Okay, and it's very, very sad. And these people are just making an honest living. It's not that they don't want to try something new, but sometimes the circumstances. You've been doing something for so long. Let's say you've been doing something for 10 years and suddenly overnight you lost your job. You'll be very, very lost, guys. You'll be very, very lost. I think there are people who are obviously the upper echelon of people. They're not affected. They're still buying, branded bags. They're still changing cars. There will be the untouchables that have built their wealth over time for many, many years that to them, it doesn't affect them. So obviously not everyone can reach that stage. But you want to be prepared as much as possible. As much as possible, and not take things for granted. So right now is the time for you to it's that kind of time for you to kind of start thinking about all these things. It's not by chance, Sometimes it has to be a circumstance that is just painful, that it slaps you in the butt, in your testicles, that you realize, wow, shit, yes, it really hurts right now. And unfortunately, people learn only when they get burned really badly. Only when they get hit by something really bad, then they wake up. And unfortunately, it has to be like that. Well, guys, that's all I have for the video. I think at the end of the day, there's always the light at the end of the tunnel. Stay positive, continue to learn, and like I said, you really, really need to have a plan B, C, or even a D. All right, guys. Take care, guys. Yeah. If you're like I said, if you're someone who is looking for learning about crypto and equities at the moment, Protégé Pro is now focusing on that. Okay, we have veered our portfolio, our emphasis to equities at the moment. And so if you're pretty clueless, you really want to find out what you need to do with your money, Protégé Pro it's open at the moment. Subscriptions are available. I will only be accepting maximum 10 people because I don't want a large group. I feel that small groups are my thing nowadays. It's so much easier to communicate. I can have a lot of one-to-one sessions with all these people within my group, and I think this is something that I want to do. Okay, and I think right now that's kind of like where I'm at. I'm very comfortable with my arrangement. Like I said, it's really that time to start learning, guys. So link is in the description below, and I'll see you in the next live stream. See you guys.